Welcome to the Easy Show. Well, today I'm with my mom
Hello.
again. I just wanted to ask you, like, cause I was talking to my friend last night on Xbox,
Mhm.
and he's just like really having a hard time, cause you know how I stopped smoking, and I
Mhm.
feel like things been going better for me ever since I stopped smoking. But I
Mhm.
was just such in like a restricted or limited mindset,
Mhm.
cause I feel like we always think we gonna miss out or something, but it's always gonna be there. You just really got to realize that. And he was just having a like very hard time and just giving up certain stuff and
Certain stuff like.
just weed and just like really having girls distract him and stuff. So I was
Mhm.
just like, you really have to just make sacrifices in your life because he's trying to start a clothing brand, a business.
Mhm.
So I was just gonna ask you like, what are your thoughts on like making sacrifices or just giving up certain stuff so you can obtain like things in your life?
Well, I'm far from an expert on that because discipline is something I struggle with.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm fasting or something, and I'm doing it for like a purpose, like God has placed it on my heart to fast, or I'm praying for something specific, and I want um results.
Yeah.
Like I want it to be my prayers to be effective. I will fast. So I'm a little more disciplined when I'm doing it like that, but it's like a short term thing in my mind.
Yeah.
So I can usually stick to it. But as far as like making moves like for your future and stuff, it is harder for me to be more disciplined because I'm
Mm-hmm.
more of a
You gotta.
I get bored and doing like routine
Yeah.
stuff is like kind of, and I feel like a lot of discipline is like being very, very routine and having a regimen and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, I will say though that mm, maybe try fasting. Like if you need to stop smoking or something, like put a real purpose behind it and make it maybe short term. Because I'm gonna tell you one thing: if you go without food for like a day, 3 days, I mean, I wouldn't start out 3 days if you never fasted, but
Yeah.
if you go like a day without eating, maybe just drink water, your mind gonna be totally different when you're done,
What do you
when it's
mean as in
over.
that? Like,
Because when you're hungry, when your body's hungry, um, your flesh tries to take over, and it's like you start wanting food and craving food that you didn't even you don't even really like.
yeah.
But you're so it has I don't know, I can't really explain it. But when you go without food and your body's hungry, um, that's like real suffering.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so some of the things we think in life that are hard or difficult or suffering, not really suffering when you compare it to being hungry or
Mm-hmm.
starving.
Yeah.
So I know the first time I really remember fasting for a whole day without food, I remember when it was over, just realizing how many things that I like made a big deal that just wasn't a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And when you hungry, it's like,
That's all you care about?
yeah, you realize a lot of things that we just focus on or complain about, it's like really not a big deal.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's why fasting is even a thing because it does have a way of putting things into perspective.
So it just makes you really realize what's important in life instead of complaining about like
Yeah,
the little stuff.
because it's like true suffering. Your body needs, um,
Food, energy.
yeah, and of course, if you build yourself up to it, you can go longer times. But if you've never fasted and you're really in your flesh, and you cut that flesh off and try to be more in your spirit, then it's life changing. But it's difficult to do. So some people will start out like just fasting for like a from like one meal a day or
Yeah.
maybe half the day, or it's just different from everybody. But I
Man,
used
you can fast in different type of ways, just water
yeah.
or just eating certain stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, fasting ain't just
Some people do like a liquid fast where
mm-hmm.
they just drink water or just do a smoothie fast, or
Mm-hmm.
I mean there's all kinds of different ones. I've done absolute fast. That's where no eating, no drinking for 3 days. And to I'm not there anymore cuz I used to do it like once a year. I haven't done
Before
it
Easter. Like
like I would do it every Easter.
mm-hmm.
But I haven't done it so long that I have to build myself back up to that
Yeah.
because it's very difficult to do that now. Now I did recently do a 3-day fast, but I was drinking. I was
Just
drinking
drinking
water.
water.
I
I feel
wasn't
like that's
like
the same thing though. Like when you're hungry and you're drinking water, it's just like it's not really getting you full. You're just
yeah.
getting through the day, I guess.
But it gives your mind clarity after like day 2, that 3rd day, like you just be in a whole different mental space.
Mhm.
I think that it'll be a good way to break like addictions or just like
What, fasting? Like fasting?
fasting, like setting a fast for like 3 days or 2 days or whatever. Um, and even though fasting, I mean it's from food, from what you ingest. Um, like if you do drugs or smoke or whatever,
Yeah.
like making that part of the fast and not participating in
One
that
of my
either.
friends was fasting. He got on Snapchat. He made videos. He's like, I'm gonna try to do a 3-day fast, but like I think he did one day, but I didn't hear his update, so I feel like he ended up
Look,
eating or
after
something.
3 days of not eating, you're gonna be so happy to have that food. You ain't even gonna really care
It's gonna
about
taste like
smoking. You're gonna be like just happy to have food.
it's gonna taste like the best food ever, isn't it though?
I don't know. You got to ease your when you go back to eating. You got to ease your way into it. So you
Hmm.
can't just fast for 3 days and then go get a burger and eat that. So
Like a burger and
I would
fries and a
usually
drink.
start out with like fruit, like watermelon or just something light to ease my way back into it. But
Yeah. I was gonna ask, do you feel like you can accomplish your goals or obtain stuff if you're not making sacrifices? Because I feel like from a social media standpoint, you may see someone smoking that who's like already like doing well for themselves in their business, and you're like, well, if they're smoking and they're at that point, then why can't I do that and
yeah,
still be successful? So do you feel like you can be successful without really making sacrifices, or?
I think there's a price to pay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there's always sacrifice when you're working towards greatness.
Yeah.
Um, you can't compare your life to somebody else though. You can't say, oh well, they are this far and they smoke because you don't know what the rest of that journey looked like.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that when you're operating in an altered state, even though like marijuana is like not even a big deal anymore, um, it's like legal a lot of places. You're still in an altered state of mind,
Yeah.
so you don't know how that's really affecting you, and
So,
you might not be thinking at your best or operating at your best. I do know once it becomes to an addiction point, that's going to get in the way of you trying to do what you need to do.
it
Now, you
definitely
might
will.
still reach whatever, but just think of you could be like prolonging it and putting it off because when you're addicted, like that becomes the focus is feeding that addiction.
Yeah.
So it's going to get in the way of you reaching your goals.
I feel like the biggest thing is you're gonna save a lot more money, and your mind gonna feel clearer too. Honestly, like that's the biggest thing,
Yeah,
and you have energy to actually do stuff. Like you're not just going
yeah,
because after you, I don't know. I feel like after you come down from it, it's just really like you're lethargic the whole day. You're like everything revolves around it
it
basically.
does. I mean,
Yeah.
I was there for before I had kids.
Mhm.
I used to wake up like, okay, wake up smoking, go to bed smoking. That was like the goal of the day.
Yeah.
And it's like you didn't really, I didn't really care about anything else. Thank God I had kids and got away from that. But I, I don't want to be controlled by anything that
That's how I
much.
feel now. Like I never go back to smoking every single day or just all day like I did.
Well, you can't say never because I mean, you think you can dip your
Nah, I
toe
know.
in it a little bit, and then guess what? Eventually, your whole body
But
in
I
it.
feel like now I realize how much like it held me back. So like I'm not gonna do that. Like I feel like
Well,
I
I
have
hope
enough
that's
self control.
true, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like you just never know. It's one of those things like thinking you can play with fire and not get burned. I mean,
Mhm.
hopefully you can have the discipline, but not everybody has discipline, and some people just have addictive natures. Maybe it runs in their family or whatever.
Mhm.
Maybe it's their makeup is to have more of an addictive nature. So it just depends on the person, but I don't think, marijuana is going to be legal probably everywhere eventually. But if you haven't reached um, a certain level of success, then I would not even be,
Dabbing with it.
no, because you got other things to do, other things to focus your energy on, other things to invest your money in.
Mhm. So what do you feel like? I mean, besides financial, besides the financial part, like what do you feel like is the biggest success for real?
Spiritually, just being able to live in peace and not really feeling any voids in your life. 'Cause a lot of people have money, all the money, but they have voids within themselves where they're
Hmm.
not
I feel like that's the
fulfilled.
hardest thing to do in life is to be disciplined or have a routine spiritually. I feel like that's the hardest thing you could do out of everything because it's like I feel like that's like a true, I don't know, like you're really evolving yourself, and I feel like that's just one of the hardest things to do is just really get past a certain point or just become a better person. Like it's not easy becoming, like it takes a lot of work and knowing like how you are and like just changing from it. I feel like that's the
Yeah.
hardest thing in life, to be honest.
Well, but because when you talk about spiritually, it comes back to relationship. It comes
Mhm.
back to you're going to have to interact with people.
Yeah.
You know, whether you got a job or you're going to have to interact with people, so people can influence that growth.
Mhm.
Whereas, okay, if you look at physical health and spiritual health, it's pretty much kind of the same. You got to have that discipline. You got to work out. You know, you're not going to go in the gym and try to bench 500 pounds, 400. You're going to start out small where you are.
Yeah.
If your body's never used to working out, you're not going to go in there and work out like somebody who's been working out for years, 3 to 5 days a week. You start out small and you gradually build up. But when you're talking about physical health, like that's on you really. Ain't nobody really, your interactions with people ain't gonna really affect that.
Yeah.
Because you can go work out, say this is my workout routine, go work out, and you see the progress, and nobody can really affect that. As long as you're doing your part, it's gonna happen. Where spiritual growth, it's harder because people can influence that. People
Yeah.
can affect that. People can make you be like,
Like you could be an angry person, but someone can like make
yeah,
you.
you doing good, and then somebody like come and so it's harder when you have other people that can affect something in your life. Um, it is a little bit tougher. That's why I say everything is about relationship.
I feel like that's when the world and God testing you the most.
What?
It's when you trying to change spiritually. That's when he really be throwing like things at you or people at
Well,
you to see
yeah,
how you
and that's
react.
why like a lot of things, like when you say, "Oh, I'm not gonna smoke for this long," then everything start happening to try to make you want to smoke or to
Yeah, but
make you
I.
lose patience or to just be like, man, it's pointless to try to stop, or you know what I mean.
Hmm.
So
I feel like I realized that. That's why it took me a couple times to really stop because when I was first trying to stop, it was just like you just go on Instagram or Twitter, then you just see someone smoking weed or rolling weed, and
yeah,
I'm just like,
you'd be like, what's the point of stopping? Like, why am I really doing this?
yeah,
Your mind, but that's how the flesh is. When you try to cut something off from the flesh, you'll start coming up with all kinds of crazy reasons why
yeah,
you should.
excuses,
Yeah,
like,
that's how it is when
yeah,
when I say I'm going to fast. And sometimes I just fast, like I'm just going to do a fast. But sometimes I feel like God really put on my heart that I need to do a fast. And after that first day, like I'd be thinking of a million reasons why, like, do I really need to do this fast?
you be ready to go grab a sandwich or
Like
something.
I be craving stuff I don't even eat.
when when you was fasting, like, what's one thing you didn't eat that you were craving?
Oh my gosh, I can't even think of anything. The crazy thing is though, it's it's crazy how you just like before, like doing a Daniel's fast was like you still
What's
eat,
that?
but you Daniel's fast is a 21-day fast. And
Mm.
so you eat only fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, no bread, no sugar,
No
no
bread,
alcohol, no sweets, no yeah, it's just pretty much fresh fruit, fresh vegetables.
so fruit and vegetables is the
Yeah.
only thing you could eat. You can't even eat candy, like,
No, you can't eat candy. It's like all refined stuff is out. I don't know that I've only did it like a couple times. For some reason, the Daniel's fast is harder for me than doing an absolute fast where I have nothing for like a few days. I guess because it's longer and like I feel like if you're giving your body something, the more it craves more.
mm-hmm.
Whereas if you just cut everything off, it's a little bit easier.
Yeah, I'd rather just do a 3 day
So
fast without eating than do that.
but in the Daniel's fast, um, I feel like once I get done with it, like I'd be eating stuff I didn't even eat before the fast. So it's
Hmm.
like I don't even know if I should do Daniel's fast, but I don't. I feel like spiritually, like if you're praying for something or trying to have a breakthrough in your life, they can be very effective as far as like that.
Yeah.
But if you're a lot of people fast just for health reasons. It's nothing spiritual connected to it. And for health reasons and for like your diet, like Daniel's fast makes me worse because
Yeah.
I just be crave. I don't even really crave sweets, but when I do a Daniel's fast, I be eating sweets like crazy when that fast over.
Yeah, I don't think I'm really interested in the Daniel's fast. I'd rather just do a
I've
water
tried it
fast
one
or
time and it was I got through it and it was good.
mhm.
But um I feel like even more than just fasting, having the discipline to just pray every day.
I be forgetting sometimes, genuinely. But I won't ever stray off too far.
Cuz sometimes I don't feel like praying. I really don't. I don't be feeling like praying. I feel like after so many years and talking to God so much, it's just like oh, I can't say nothing I
I
ain't
feel like
already
as long
said.
as you have faith for real and you like
Now my prayer is pretty much like a continuous thing.
mhm.
Like I just talk to God all day every day. So
Mhm.
it's not like I get on my knees, and sometimes I do get on my knees. Sometimes you just have to get on your knees and humble yourself and pray.
Mhm.
And I feel like I always know when I need to do that. But other than that, it's like a continuous just conversation that never stops. So it's not like when I get on my knees and I say amen, I just go on about my day and don't think about God no more.
Mhm.
Now it's like a talk to God about everything, just like he my friend, like he walking beside me.
Yeah. I feel like
But
I get on my knees to pray still.
I do too. I
Not
mean,
all the time, but
especially when I wake up in the middle
I
of the night.
understand what you're
But I'd
saying
be
though.
like,
Like
dang, I don't feel it.
you just be like, I need to
But
pray
when
right
I
now.
do, especially when I get on my knees, I'd be like, man, I really just want to lay in this bed and pray. And I
Mhm.
don't want to get on my knees.
I
But
feel like that's
when I get on my knees though, I always get some kind of revelation or
mhm.
get something.
I feel like laying in your bed and praying is disrespectful to God. It's disrespectful. Like have the courtesy to show some respect and get on your knees.
But I don't think God is that uptight. Like
Mhm.
God don't if he only wanted us to pray on our knees, then that means we wouldn't even be able to talk to him as much as we could because we
Mhm.
can't always get on our knees.
That's
And
true.
he wants us to be able to talk to him anytime, any place about anything.
I just feel like
So,
it's the principle. Like you really
but
can't get
sometimes
up.
you do need to show some reverence and
Yeah.
get on your
Like
knees.
you
But
really can't get up out your bed and pray for a minute. That's how I feel like God be thinking. For real.
sometimes I'll be tired, man. I'll be like, man. Plus, I feel like when I get on my knees, I'm not gonna pray as long because I'd be like, I'm ready to
Mom, I cannot with
I'd be
you.
like, I'm ready to get back in this bed. So if I lay here and pray, I'll pray longer. But if I get on my knees, I'm cutting it short because I'm trying to
Yeah.
get back in this bed. No, but for real though, I don't care how long you believe in God or have faith, man. It's a lifelong thing because
Mhm.
sometimes your faith can be tested. Sometimes you have bad seasons, or it's just not. It's not easy, but you are more equipped to handle life. But I'm telling you, things have changed. The generations changed, and what I see now from women and men, it's so different. How do you think it'd be hard these days to find a
A
woman with the
wife.
same values and
No, because I feel like okay, well, I feel like well, what you are is what you attract. So if you really like on your purpose, living how you're supposed to be, and evolving as a person, and just living like the best way you can, or just trying to, I feel like you attract someone good enough who's on the same frequency as you that you can live with. But at the same time, I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's only getting worse. Like we're getting more programmed. Like everything's based off social media now. Like you have more access to people,
yeah.
so it's just and plus over 50% of marriages fail. So it's just like I don't know. It's a risk at the end of the day. I
You know
mean,
why? Because relationship is so important. There's an attack on the family,
hmm
especially the black family. But, if we have a few that take it seriously and try to combat how it's turning out, then it can make a difference. And even if it doesn't make like the hugest difference,
hmm
you still have your life and your choices.
I
And
still have hope in it, but it's not
do
like
you want to get married?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know if I want to really get married. I feel like if I meet the right person and I really love them, I could get married. But at the same time,
right now.
I just feel like putting a title and like a label on it just makes things worse. I feel like the relationship is much better before like the title, the title and everything is on it. I don't know how to really explain it. I just feel like it's more. I don't know. I don't know how to. I don't know. I'm young, mom, so there's just so much I have to learn more about it.
Well, I say learn yourself first, because I
Hmm.
think sometimes people focus so much on what they want and what they're looking for, and maybe forget to actually be what they want and
Hmm.
what they're looking for. And that takes time to learn that and to grow into that. That would be like a whole different podcast. Uh but we can talk about it at some time. Not right now,
Okay.
because that's a whole nother
Episode. So
that's
should
a
we should
whole
just so we just stop right here?
yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's all, guys, for today.
Love ya.
I love you too. Give me a hug, mom.